Hi everyone, it's Andy from Hobby Headquarters, and today we're going to be building the King Tiger. This has been a much requested kit. We're going to be doing the 35th scale one from Tamiya. It's been out for a few years, but it's still a very good kit, and we're going to paint it up in the ambush scheme, similar to the way the box is. A few people have asked me to do something like that for them as well. So let's get started on it. Okay, building Tiger road wheels, there's a lot of repetition in it because there's a lot of different wheels in here. So there's two types of wheels assemblies on this, so I'll just show you the basics on how they go together, and they go together simple enough. Put a little glue on the inside of that, glue that on there, and then it's just a matter of following the right pattern. So the way the pattern works on this one is you get the one with the nub sticking out, sticking out first. And actually, you have to put those on the inside first, then the outside, and you'll have to layer them back and forth, and then you can go ahead and put the stoppers in on each side. So it's just a matter of, I'm going to go ahead and make all these wheels right now, and of course you'll put the inside ones all in a row on that, then the outside ones, and you can put the caps on the outside, and that'll get it all together. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. One other tip too is when I go ahead to get rid of the parting line, I always glue the wheels together first. And the reason you do this is A, it's a little bit easier to hold on to, and then when you go ahead and sand, you're killing two birds with one stone right there. So, and also this is something else. This is something you can get at a woman's nail salon. I find these work out really good. They have a foam insert with the sanding on the outside, and it just makes a real easy work of sanding road wheels. And then you get the whole parting line completely gone. So I'm going to go ahead and do all those right now. Okay, while we attach the black back plate of the tank, I got all the sanding done on the wheels, and I was just about to glue them on, and then I remembered we need to put the metal edge all around the edge here. So we're not going to glue all those on now because it's going to make painting much easier later on. And although we're going to put the wheels on later, you can go ahead and carefully attach these outer hubs. You just want to make sure you line it up just right, and then you can always test fit it by putting it over one of the pegs right here, making sure that it'll fit on there. So I went ahead and put all of these on, and I'm going to go ahead and put all of these on too, so when I go to paint them it'll be that much easier. Okay, as we start to build the engine deck here, you can see that I've started putting the photo etch pieces on. I haven't put the last two round ones on yet. We'll get to those very soon. And like a typical Tamiya kit, the kit goes together very, very nicely, very easy to put together. Oh, actually, I just messed up. I accidentally put the wrong vent cover on the wrong piece, but luckily I noticed it right away before the glue set up. Drop that right into place there. Okay, I've come to a point that I was going to actually talk to you guys what I've done so far. I've gone ahead and put all the little odds and ends on there, like the track rack holders and things like that. Now I can't really do any more construction because of the way we're going to paint this kit. As I told you earlier, I want to paint all the wheels individually, and also what I'll show you is here, I actually am not going to use the rubber bands. I had a set of tracks from Dragon, the for a King Tiger, that I've gone ahead and put together, and we'll have to put these on all as one piece. So I've molded them into the position that I need it to go on, and what we'll do is we'll actually paint up all the wheels, paint the tracks, weather the tracks, put the drive sprocket and the return idler in the back, and then we'll slide those on, and then we'll work all of the individual wheels all together. But because of that, we're not going to be able to put the side skirts on to the very last thing. So this is going to present a few little problems when we go to paint, because we want the camouflage pattern to match all the way down the side there. So we're going to paint all the end pieces, the black, the white, and then the dark yellow, just like we would any other vehicle that we're going to build. But then when it comes time to do the camouflage, we'll have to like hold it in place. But I'll show you all that as we go along. So the kit is going together really well. Having a tiny bit of problem with the turret. Is pretty tight on the base right here. I might file that out a little bit just so it spins a little bit more. And you'll also notice that I have a pre-painted barrel on there. And what that has come from is the kit that this originally came out of was a kit that I've been working on, and it had a metal barrel. And rather than use the two-part barrel that Tamiya comes with, I just went ahead and chopped that all off the kit that I already had started building. It was kind of like a tester kit that I've been using to test out paint jobs and things like that. So the barrel was in perfect condition, so we cut that off, and I had to do a little modification to make it mate to the Tamiya one, but I think it's going to look really good on there. And then, like I said, I had these tracks because the rubber bands, they'll work okay, but they're just really, really shallow. And I had a set of Fruel tracks on order, and they haven't shown up yet. So I saw these, and I thought, well, these don't look that bad. The guide horns are really sharp, and the track itself looks pretty good. Now, I did have to take two links out for some reason compared to the Dragon kit. It was a regular Henschel turret just like this one, but now that I've taken the two links out, it's going to fit perfectly on there after a little mating. You'll also notice that I left off all the tools and all of these, all the the tow cables and things like that, because we're going to paint those all individually. So now that we've got to this point right here, let's go ahead and start painting everything. Okay, we've got all the parts laid out and taped down so we can spray them easily. And then this is what I was talking about. There's quite a few parts we have to build before we can actually start painting. So we're going to start off with XF69, the NATO black. It won't focus. There it goes. And that's the paint we're going to paint everything up with. Okay, we've gone ahead and finished the shadow coat over all the entire pieces. So now we are going to skip the painting of the white, the lightning coat. And the reason we're not going to put that on there is because this late war King Tiger has such dark camouflage that the toning really doesn't come out by the time you put the different layers of paint on. So we're going to just paint the entire thing right now with XF60. Okay, I've temporarily put the turret on the vehicle here, and you also might be able to notice that I didn't go super heavy on the dark yellow. So anywhere the dark yellow is, we still have like a kind of a worn look to it because we see a lot of the black showing through. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start painting the camouflage. I'm going to temporarily hold this in place. How you doing there? Okay, after I let the green and brown paint dry, what I went back and did was I took my dark yellow again and lowered down the pressure a little bit on the airbrush down to about 15 pounds. And then I went over and touched up some of the dark yellow areas and gave them a little bit sharper and a little tighter shape to all the camouflage patterns, so it'll stick out a little bit more. Now that we've done this part right here, I'm going to go ahead and spray the entire model with dull coat. And dull coat for, I always get this question every time I mention that. Dull coat is either TS80 from Tamiya, the flat clear, or I actually use Tester's 1260 dull coat. And what that is a flat lacquer that'll go over the entire model and seal in this paint job. So when we go ahead to do the weathering, it won't affect the paint job at all. Okay, now that the road wheels have been sealed, we're going to take our metal polishing powder. I happen to have the S&J stuff, but they have stuff from MIG and other companies as well. And using a cotton swab, we're just going to go around the outside edge here and give the road wheels a metallic finish to them. Because this part would be metal on metal with the tracks, so it would always be worn. So any paint they would have put on it would have been worn right off immediately as soon as the vehicle was driven. So we just go around in circles, just putting a coat of that on. And part of it will get covered over when we do a little bit of weathering, but you'll still be able to see a lot of the metal effect come through. So, and there we go. So I've got quite a few more road wheels to do, so I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. Okay, I put the tracks on now. I haven't glued them down yet, and I have the spare links that are going to go right in here that kind of snapped off when I was trying to put them on. It was a little bit difficult trying to get them on. The drive sprocket fits in fine, but then getting the interlaced wheels on as well as the drive sprocket, or excuse me, the idler in the back was a little difficult. But as you can see, it's not very, once you get it on, it's not impossible. It just takes a little bit of messing around with, and then like I said, I'll glue the extra tracks back into place. So we will glue these down and we'll get the nice sag that we wanted out of all of this. And actually the side skirt's going to cover most of it anyway, like that. So, but we'll still glue them down anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that down, and then we'll start to work on weathering the tracks. Okay, because of the interlaced road wheels, it's sometimes hard putting the tracks pre-made like that. So what I found is if you disconnect the track back here and leaving the idler, take that, excuse me, the drive sprocket slightly off, you've got to put this wheel up in here at the same time that you put that on, or it'll never quite work right. So once that one gets on while still clearing the tracks, then you can push the drive sprocket on, and then just stretching this out, you can wrap that around, and then we can tack it down. It's like I said, it's because the drive sprocket overlaps the wheel on the left hand side a little bit more than it does the right, and that's because of the torsion bars on one side or the other. The wheels are off center a little bit from each other. So I'm going to go ahead and finish lining all this up, and then we'll glue that down and put the extra piece of track in. Okay, while you have the polishing powder out, you can lightly go over the tow cables and then kind of blend that in. And after working on them for a few minutes, I'll show you this one. I've already done this one. And when you put it on the vehicle, slide this out of the way, it really has a nice effect up against the side. So I'm going to go ahead and do those right now and go on to the next step. Okay, I've decided to go ahead and do the ambush pattern on the kit. So what I've done here is taking a little piece of cardboard stock. I've cut out some holes, and so we can get as close as possible with this. We're just going to hit those holes lightly with the paint and start to get some of the dots on there. So because I have to get really close to this, I'm going to stop filming right now, and I'm going to show finish up the rest of it. But you get the general idea, because you really want the card to lay as flat as possible. That way you get a rounder spot. Okay, now that we have done the brown over the dark yellow, we are going to take dark yellow and do it over the brown and green. And just start doing random patterns all over the darker colors. So same thing, cutting out little pieces of card. You want to kind of make the holes close to the edge on this, and that way you can get it up closely to different items, because if you have too big of a piece of paper, you're never going to get it close enough to some of the little add-on pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up doing the dark yellow. Okay, I've got the skirts glued on and the rest of the tools. Now I just want to show you, we're going to do some weathering on the track, and we're going to start off using Vallejo's Desert Dust as a fixer, and then using a mixture of mainly light sienna and a little bit of the European earth, and we're going to put a blend of those together and start putting it on. So first thing, put a little bit of the Desert Dust on. Put this like this so you can hopefully see it a little better. Now I'm only going to roughly go over this step because I've used this step in quite a few builds. Plus I have a whole video on the channel as well that just deals with doing the tracks and things like that. So after putting a little bit of that coat on, dip it right into your dust. And you can add a little bit of the other color. You can mix, multiple other colors together to get the look you're looking for. I like the way this combo comes out for the European theater. So, like I said, you're going to go up and down all of the tracks, doing the same thing. And then, of course, we'll also work on the sides all down in here too. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Like I said, if you want to see more about that, I've got a couple other videos out that show it. Okay, and before we go any further on this, we're going to go ahead and put the decals on. Slide that right onto there. And luckily this kit doesn't have a lot of decals, so just mainly the numbers on it. For the particular tank that we're building, there was no other insignia on it. So I'm going to go ahead and put the rest of those on. We are going to put a coat of microsol on it to soften them up and get them to really adhere really well. And then we're going to dull coat over the entire thing, 2 light coats to get away any silvering that might show up on the edges of them. Okay, we've gone ahead and clear coated the decals in, so they're all hidden away. Now we're going to take a little NATO black, and using a little dry brushing technique where we put a little on the brush and then taking the majority out, we're going to start doing a little highlighting in the little worn areas, especially like around the back areas right here. And if you do a soft enough amount, some of the rub areas going around the vehicle. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up doing that over the whole vehicle, and then we'll move on to the next step. Okay, in our very last step, we are going to take our thinned down XF57 buff and we're going to spray the entire model really lightly from about 12 inches away, and that'll knock down some of the sheen that we have on there, and it'll create just a light layer of dust. So here is our final on the build. I've gone ahead and using some different washes, some black wash and some of the dust wash. I've gone and kind of filled in some of the areas in there to give it a little bit of a dirty, dusty effect. I didn't want to go too far overboard on it. I also went back and used our rust coat to rust up the tailpipes. Give you a basic overview of the model. The kit itself, like I said, is a typical Tamiya kit. No problems with fit or anything like that. I did, like I said, go ahead and use a metal barrel, and I also used the tracks out of a Dragon kit that I've had. Now the tracks on the Dragon kit here are a little bit more defined. They had much bigger pads and just looked a little more realistic than the rubber bands on it. And it was a little bit of fun trying to get them on, but overall they fit on pretty well. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed our build, and please stay tuned because I have more coming.